The Constitution of India. Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Happy morning, students. So we are getting into the fourth chapter today. It's a new chapter, chemical bonding and molecular structure. Before getting into the topic, I would like to share a small story on something that is very important for every one of us. It's a story of a blind boy who was sitting on the stairs with a hat, and he had a signboard which was written, "I am blind, please help me." So this hat was filled with coins by the passerbys. Those who were passing this blind boy used to read the signboard and they used to help him with few coins. There came a man who was passing this boy. He saw this signboard and he took the signboard. On the back of it, he wrote his own new words and he kept it the way that the new words were displayed. After some time, the hat was started getting filled with more and more coins, and the boy was surprised. This man who changed the signboard came close by to see was there any change after he changed the signboard. So then this blind boy who could identify the steps of this person was asking him, "Sir, were you the person who came and changed the signboard?" So this man said, "Yes." "So what did you write in the board that the people, after changing the signboard, started offering me more and more coins?" So this man said, "I just wrote the same thing which you have written, but in a different way." And he said, it goes like this: "Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it." Do you agree with that, children? The first signboard, which was written, "I am blind," reveals the truth that the boy is blind. But the second signboard says the attitude of gratitude. That is, we often see the troubles around us. We always focus on the troubles that we get in our life, the obstacles that we pass through in our life. We never try to appreciate the good things that comes around us or that we see around us. We never appreciate the nature. Try to appreciate small things that you see around you. Say thanks to God for every new day that you get. That shows the attitude of gratitude in your life. When we develop this gratitude character in our life, definitely we will be reaching great heights. So children, I hope all my children definitely have this attitude of gratitude, showing thanks or giving thanks to everybody whom we met in our daily life, right? So with this, we will begin the topic for today, chemical bonding and molecular structure. Chemistry, as a part of what we were dealing till now, were the basics. How an atom is made, how the electrons are getting filled into the nucleus or around the orbit. All these basic things we were reading. But we know that any matter is made up of several elements, different types of elements. No element exists as an independent atom in a free nature except for the noble gases, because we know noble gases are inert elements. They are rare gases because of their completely filled configuration. They are inactive, they are chemically inert. But these elements, they combine, they become dependent, or they chemically react with other elements in the nature because of the attractive force between the atoms in the chemical species. Such attractive force, which leads to the formation of a new compound or molecule, we call that force as a chemical bond. The bond that exists between any two atoms or elements that is wholly responsible for the formation of a new species. We call them as chemical bond. Now, a question arises. Why atoms combine? Why do these atoms are combining? Do all the atoms have got the ability to combine and form a new bond? Or why only certain elements are able to combine? Why other elements cannot do it? Why the molecules, they possess a definite shape or a different geometry? All these questions arises when there is an attractive force between the atoms or molecules. Now, to understand these questions, or to understand the chemical bonding, or why the molecules possess the shape and structure, there are different methods of approach. The first one is Cossel-Lewis KL concept. Second one is VSEPR theory, valence shell electron pair repulsion theory. VSEPR theory. We have VBT, valence bond theory, MOT, molecular orbital theory, and the last one is hybridization. So we are going to look at these concepts. Each concept has got its own specialization. So we will learn one by one with much more dedication, because this lesson is a vast topic. If you can understand the basic of this, it will be very easy for you to understand the next concepts in hand. Okay, so let us begin the class with the first concept, Cossel-Lewis. So today we will be learning only about the Lewis concept. Now begin the first approach of this chemical bonding, which is the Cossel-Lewis concept or Cossel-Lewis approach. Now what he was doing is that he considered the formation of bond with the electrons, that is he used electrons to represent the bond formation in a chemical compound. So the formation of bond was through the electrons, and he considered a positive kernel, which is called as a nucleus, which is surrounded by the electrons like in the orbit, and he said the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in the outermost is 8. So 8 is the maximum number of electrons. So he used a simple cube to represent these valence electrons. So the outer electrons, the outermost shell which has got the valence electrons, those were occupying the corners of the cube. We know a cube has got 8 corners, so 8 electrons can be the maximum number. So if you have 3 electrons, it will be occupying 3 corners. Sodium, if you take, has got 2, 8, 1 as its configuration, and it has 1 electron in its outermost shell, which means only 1 electron goes to the corner of the cube. Now if you take a noble gas, now consider a noble gas. We know noble gas are the 18th group elements which has got the outermost shell completely filled. So what will happen? All 8 corners of the cube will be occupied by the electrons in case of noble gas. Now how does these electrons form a bond? There are 2 main methods. One is through transfer of electrons, the other one is through the sharing of the electrons. When I consider the transfer, what is exactly happening? Now let me take sodium, which has got a configuration of 281, as 11 is its atomic number. So this sodium, if it has to become stable, if it has to attain an octet configuration, it needs to lose this one electron. Sodium, after losing one electron, becomes Na plus, because we know elements, when they lose electron, they become a cation. Now chlorine 2A7, 17 is its atomic number, and chlorine needs just one electron to become a noble gas configuration. So what happens? This one electron from sodium get transferred to chlorine. So chlorine accepts or gains one electron and becomes Cl minus. So the formation of bond between sodium and chlorine, that is Na plus and Cl minus, is through a transfer of electrons, and we know it's an ionic bond. Now what happens in case of hydrogen, chlorine, fluorine, that is H2Cl2, they have a mutual sharing of electrons. Each hydrogen, there are two hydrogen, each hydrogen share one electron and then they form a bond. Such bond we call it as sharing of electron bond formation, which is also called as covalent bond. And all these transfer or sharing or mutual understanding between the bonds is just to attain one thing, that is a stable configuration. They want to become stable. So to attain the stable or octet configuration, this bond formation, chemical combination takes place. Now let us learn something, an extension about Cossel-Lewis approach. Lewis symbol. What do you mean by symbols? Symbols and signs are notations. We use traffic symbols to understand traffic signs on the board, right? We use left turn, right turn, U-turn, right? Highway, go slow. You have seen everything, right children? So Lewis symbols were used as by the outermost shell electrons, which are called as valence electrons. So in this, valence shell electrons or valence electrons takes part in the chemical combination. Now these are notations. What are notations? Notations are the valence electrons which are called as the Lewis symbols. So what are Lewis symbols here? They are dots. Lewis dots, Lewis dot structure. We also call it as Lewis. So you can pronounce in whichever way you are comfortable, no matter. Okay children. So now how does it work? Lithium has got an atomic number 3. So it has 2, 1. 1 electron in its outermost shell. So lithium, I put 1 dot here. Beryllium 4 is its atomic number, 2, 2. So 1 here, 1 on the top. Boron 5 atomic number. So 2, 3 outermost electrons or 3 valence electrons. Carbon 6, 2, 4. So 4 electron in its outermost shell. So 4 Lewis dots. So this is how we represent the Lewis symbol. Now what does this signifies? What is the significance or importance of Lewis symbols? Dots are nothing but the valence electrons, which is helping us to calculate the group valency of the element. You can find out the total valency of the element using the valence electrons or using the Lewis symbols. That is, it can be either the number of dots that are present in the whole element or 8 minus number of dots. So this is how the dots or the Lewis symbol help us to calculate the valence of the element. Now we will just learn about some of the important facts that we should know when we are writing the Lewis dots. Now see some of the facts about Lewis concept. Now what are these facts? Facts are nothing but these are the reality in the periodic table, right? That has led to different approaches in chemical bonding. First important is the highly electronegative elements and the highly electropositive elements are being separated by a noble gas. Do you agree children? The first group is an alkali metal. After that the last one, 17th is the our halogens, the electronegative, are being separated by the noble gas, because after 17 it is 18th group, then comes the first group. So the noble gas lies between the highly electronegative and the highly electropositive elements. The highly electronegative elements like the halogens, they accept, that is they gain electrons to become a negative ion, and the alkali metals which are highly electropositive, they tend to lose electrons to become a positive ion, that is a cation. Both positive and negative ion, once they start gaining or losing electrons, they tend to attain a stable gas configuration, that is having 8 electrons in its outermost shell, which is having a configuration of Ns2Np6 with an exception of helium, atomic number 2. The positive and negative are being stabilized. What do you mean by stabilizing? Neutralizing the charges only through electrostatic attraction, because we know in electrostatic attraction the positive will go get attracted to negative and the negative comes and attracts the positive. Opposite charges, they attract each other. Like charges, they repel each other. So, such an electrostatic attraction is applied between the positive and the negative ions to make them stabilize. There is a bond which is formed by this electrostatic attraction between this positive and the negative ion, leading to the formation of an electrovalence bond. Such a bond which is formed, we call them as electrovalence bond. Let us take an example of sodium chloride, where sodium loses 1 electron to become Na plus. So, sodium with its short form configuration neon 3s1. You know what is this short form? With using a noble gas 3s1. After this 1 electron is being lost, it becomes neon, attaining a stable configuration. This is a noble gas. Now, chlorine accepts this 1 electron from sodium and becomes Cl minus. Now, the configuration is neon 3s2 3p5. 3p5, 5 electrons are there. After accepting 1 electron from sodium becomes 3s2 3p6. Now, 10 plus 2 12 plus 6 18. 18 is the atomic number of argon, which is again a noble gas. So, every single element, either they lose electron or they gain electron to attain a noble gas configuration to become octet. Now, I say octet, octet, octet. What is this octet? Octet means 8 electrons. So, we are going to see octet rule. Atoms combining together either to transfer of electron from one atom to another atom, or through sharing of a pair of electrons between 2 atoms to get octet electrons in its valence shell. Any 2 atoms share electrons. Any 2 atoms, they transfer electrons by losing or gaining, is just for only one reason, to get 8 electrons in its valence shell or to get octet electrons in its valence shell. Such a rule, we call it as octet rule. So, here we are going to see about octet rule. Before that, we will learn about covalent bond and then we will get into the Lewis representation. Now, we shall learn about covalent bond and then we will get into the Lewis structure. Covalent bond, as we have learnt in the young classes, earlier classes, like sharing a pair of electrons between any 2 atoms will lead to a bond which is called as covalent bond. Now, in this case, both the atoms try to attain an octet configuration where their outermost shell will be completely filled with 8 electrons, so that they get into the nearest noble gas configuration. If you take an example of chlorine having 7 electrons in its valence shell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this chlorine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, when 2 chlorine atoms share a pair of electrons with each other, this chlorine try to share this with this chlorine and this one with another chlorine. It gives total 8 electrons for each chlorine atom. Now, the same situation if you take a covalent bond formation in different molecules, that is heteroatoms. When I say heteroatoms, which means they are different. So, let us take an example of water where we have hydrogen and oxygen atom. As we already know, oxygen atomic number is 8, having 6 electron in its valence shell, and hydrogen has got 1 electron. So, 1 electron of hydrogen 1 electron of another hydrogen and 6 electrons. So this is 1 hydrogen, this is 1 hydrogen, oxygen is having 6 electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have one bond formation, another bond formation. So that is how you get 2 for hydrogen, this 2 for hydrogen having octet of helium, and then 8 electrons for oxygen. So that is how a single bond formation is done. So when 2 pair of electrons are being shared between any 2 atoms, it leads to double bond. An example is CO2, carbon dioxide. If you take here example, carbon valency is 4. So carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 electrons. Oxygen, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this oxygen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have one bond, one more bond, one more bond. So this carbon forms a double bond with this oxygen, one more double bond with another oxygen, and so 8 electron for oxygen, 8 electron for this oxygen, and 8 electrons for carbon, because one bond represents 2 electrons. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So carbon, oxygen, oxygen, all the 3 atoms possessing 8 electron in its valence shell. When any 2 atoms share 3 pair of electrons, you call it as a triple bond. I'll take an example of nitrogen. Atomic number is 7, 2, 5. 5 electrons are there. So I put 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I put 3, 4, 5 here, there is no bond formation. These 2 electrons becomes unpaired. So what I do? 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So they form a triple bond. That's how we get 8 electrons for each of the nitrogen atom. Do you understand, children? I think you are able to follow. You can take different examples and try this out. Okay, and if you find any doubt in this, please don't hesitate to call me. Now we will just see what are the Lewis dot structures postulates they say in page number 99. Please go through the Lewis representation of simple molecules where 5 points have been given to you. Just go through that. How to calculate the formal charge of an atom. Formal charge is nothing but the lowest charge that is there on the structure of an atom, where it is calculated by the total number of valence electrons in the free atom. When I say carbon, it is 4. When I say oxygen, it is 6. So total number of valence electrons in the free atom minus total number of lone pair, that is non-bonding electrons, minus half into total number of shared electrons, which are the bonded electrons. Now this is my ozone O3, where I have oxygen marked as 1, oxygen marked as 2, and oxygen marked as 3. Now let us calculate the formal charge on each of these oxygen atoms. For the first oxygen, total number of valence electrons is 6. Any oxygen atom, it is 6, minus total number of lone pair. Lone pair means the electrons which are not involved in the bond formation. If you see, we have a pair, that is 2 electrons. So 6 minus 2 minus half into total number of shared electrons, that is the bonded electrons. For this oxygen, you have 2 bonds formed here, a single bond formed here, totally 3 bonds. 1 bond makes 2 electrons. So 3 bonds, 3 into 2 is 6. So half into 6, which is 3. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 plus 1. So this oxygen bears a plus 1 oxidation state. That is the charge. The second oxygen, again total number is 6 minus bond. The number of unpaired electrons is 4. Non-bonding electrons 4 minus half of the shared electrons. If you see, the second oxygen has no connection with the third, but has 2 bonds formed with the first oxygen. So 2 bonds, 2 into 2, 4. So half into 4 is 2, 6 minus 4 is 2, 2 minus 2 becomes 0. So there is no charge for the second oxygen, it is neutral. If you come to the third oxygen, 6 minus 6, because it has 3 pairs of unpaired electrons. So 6 minus 6 again becomes 0, minus half into 2, which is 2, calculate, it becomes 1. So minus 1. So the third oxygen bears a negative charge, minus 1 formal charge. The lowest energy structure is the one with the smallest formal charge on the atoms. So that is most important, because you may get the same question or different question to calculate the formal charge of the atom. Now we have few limitations, just 3 limitations with octet rule. With that we can wind up the class for today. We are in the last part of octet rule, that is the Lewis concept. Limitations. The first and foremost limitation is incomplete octet of central atom. If you take examples like beryllium hydride or lithium chloride, chlorine with 7 electrons or lithium with 1 electron, the octet will not be complete. It is incomplete again because lithium becomes 4. Only the chlorine gets 8 electrons. Similarly with beryllium hydride also, the octet is not getting completed. The second drawback is again odd electron molecule. If you see between nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide, there is 1 electron left unpaired, an odd electron. What is odd electron? Only 1 electron which is not getting paired up with any of the atoms. That is present in the molecule or the atom, which is again making an incomplete octet. The third one is the expanded octet. What is expanded octet? Octet is just 8 electrons. When I say expanded octet, it becomes more than 8 electrons in its outermost shell. If you see phosphorus pentachloride, fluoride or chloride, we have 5 fluorine atoms with having 8 electrons in its outermost shell. Phosphorus again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It becomes 10 electrons for phosphorus rather than 5 in its outermost shell. So these are some of the examples like SF6, sulfur hexafluoride. So these examples show that octet rule or the Lewis concept may be okay or may be helping very few molecules to complete its octet or stable configuration, but not for all the molecules. Some of the drawbacks are even the noble gases are taking part in the chemical combinations like xenon and krypton, and it does not account for the stability of the molecules, or it does not discuss about the shape or the geometry of the molecules. So with this, the Lewis concept is getting completed. I want you all to solve the questions in your textbook, because only those questions come for the exam. So make sure that you do that pink boxes and some of the examples given in the textbook. With this, we will be getting back into the electrovalent bond theory in the next class. If you have any doubt with this concept, please don't hesitate to call me and clarify your doubts, children. Okay. Thank you so much. Stay home, stay safe, take care, bye.